right, so I've lived in San Jose most of my life, and there's some things that you should know about if you're planning on moving here, and that's what we're talking about today. Welcome back to my channel. This is Vito Scarnecchio with the Almaden Group. We talk about all things San Jose, Santa Clara County. We talk about restaurants and events. We help support small businesses, so we do little interviews with them as well. So you want to make sure you hit the little subscribe button down below and hit the bell too, because that way you'll be made aware of upcoming videos. And we shoot new videos every week. We'd hate for you to miss any of them. Today we're talking about 10 things you need to know about San Jose before you move here. So number one, San Jose is made up of a bunch of different little areas. I live in Blossom Valley. There's Almaden Valley, there's Santa Teresa, there's Willow Glen, there's downtown, there's Alum Rock area, which is east side San Jose. Then we have Cambrian area, which is closer to Campbell. All sorts of different little areas. So you have to know that every area has its own little nuances. Like for example, Blossom Valley is kind of far away. Is very suburban. There's no real downtown or main street like we have in Willow Glen. If you go to Willow Glen, you go down Lincoln and you have a bunch of little tiny shops, and it's very quaint, it's really cool. The good news is we're only 10-15 minutes away, unless there's an accident or there's a lot of traffic or what have you. We're pretty much centrally located to the entire valley, the entire county of Santa Clara, which goes from Gilroy, San Martin, Morgan Hill, which is in the deep south. We call that South County. And then we also have Milpitas area, which is northeast. And then we have Sunnyvale, Mountain View, and Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Gatos. Those are surrounding cities that are around San Jose. So San Jose is centrally located around Silicon Valley. Number two, there's lots to do. There's so much stuff to do, and not just in San Jose. I mean, we have the San Jose Giants, we have the San Jose Sharks. Now we're really, really close to the 49ers, which is in the city of Santa Clara, which is, just a few minutes away. We have horseback riding. We're about an hour away from the beach. You can go to Santa Cruz, Carmel, Monterey, and it's all about an hour away. If you're into skiing, it's about 2 hours away to the closest mountains. Or you can go to Tahoe for a weekend, and that's about 4 hours on a good day. Could be 6 to 8 hours if there's a lot of traffic. And we have Yosemite, we have the redwood forests up there on north end of the Bay Area, and there's just a ton of different things to do. You can even go to San Francisco. However, I don't know why anybody would ever want to go to San Francisco. Not my cup of tea, but lots of people love San Francisco. So there you have it. Number three, cost of living. Now, a big downer for coming here to the Silicon Valley or Santa Clara is the cost of living is super expensive. I'm not just talking about houses, I'm talking about gas, food, restaurants. Sandwiches are super expensive. I go to Togo's, which is a local favorite, and we're paying anywhere from $11 to $15 for a sandwich, which is crazy, but it's just what it is because cost of living is so high here. The houses here are expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you. You can buy a house for maybe 800, 700,000 right now, but that's east side and it's a little bit of a rough neighborhood. The average or mean value of a house right now is about $1 million, almost 1.1 in San Jose. In Blossom Valley, for example, we're at $1.1 million on the average. You can get houses underneath $1 million, but typically they start at $1 million and then they go for way over asking. If you go to Almaden Valley or Willow Glen, you're looking anywhere from 1.5, 1.8, all the way up to $2.5, $3 million. Number four, traffic. When there's not COVID around, traffic is pretty bad. Matter of fact, I think it's the third worst in the nation compared to Los Angeles and New York. San Jose is pretty congested. And the reason why is because we're stuck in the middle of a valley, which is why we call it Silicon Valley. And there's just not a lot of room to grow or put more houses or put more buildings or freeways. So whenever it's traffic time, which is now about a 4-hour each way type situation, you're looking at a lot of congestion. And it doesn't matter what freeway you take. You could be on 280, 101, 17, which is now 880. When it's traffic time, it's pretty bad. That said, I don't have to be in traffic a whole lot, but when I do, it's not really that bad. It's not like stop, and then you wait for hours and then you can go. It moves. And there's some congestion parts which they're fixing, but that's going to take another decade for that to happen. Number five, nature. We have national parks, we have local parks, we have county parks. I am literally a mile away from the entry point to hiking at the Santa Teresa County Park, which is hundreds of acres and miles and miles and miles of hiking. If you like mountain biking, you can go up there, but you can go and spend a couple hours up there with your family, and you'll still see deer, wild boar, turkeys. We've seen tons of turkeys up there, quail, you name it. There are rattlesnakes and scorpions, but they're not crocodiles or big bugs like you get in Florida or what have you. Oh, and we have coyotes. We have a ton of coyotes, tons of coyotes. You hear them all the time. They're always chasing down squirrels or something. Number six, culture. We do have plays, we have museums, we have musicals, we have Children's Discovery Museum, and also we have the Children's Musical Theater, which you bring together your kids and they actually put on plays, truncated plays, I'll tell you that, but they're enjoyable and they're fun, and it's amazing to watch these young kids perform in front of their parents, their peers, their family. It's just an amazing event to watch these kids come out and perform. And you know, they're not perfect, but at the same time, they're still getting out there and doing it, which is, you got to give it to them, right? Got to appreciate that. Number seven, fires. We have wildfires in California. And unless you don't watch the news or have your head buried in the ground, you know that we have wildfires. And if you choose to buy a house or live up in the mountains, that's one of the risks. One of the other risks is earthquakes. And because we have the fires, sometimes there's massive rains. And when the rains come, there's flooding and mudslides. That's kind of the norm. If you go anywhere on the West Coast, I know we made the news a lot. Oh my God, California's burning. Wildfires are natural. They're natural progressions of the ecology of a forest. That it has to happen. You have to have forest fires, and it's a normal thing. California is now learning how to manage those fires a little bit better. So we're going to start doing more controlled burning here and there. If you go to Yosemite, they typically do controlled burning, wildfires. Can't get away from it. And I'll tell you, it's good for the garden. It's horrible for your car paint because you're always hosing it down. The ash from the wildfires do come and get all over everywhere. So you kind of have to just hose stuff down and move on. And it's a normal part of life. And those days you typically don't go out, but since we have COVID, we don't go out anyway. So there you have it, wildfires. And again, California made the news, but if you looked at all the fires that were done in North America, it went all the way up to British Columbia. We had fires all the way up in Oregon, in Washington, in Idaho. We had fires everywhere. So it's not an abnormal thing. Number 8, sports. So I mentioned it before, but we do have sports. We have San Jose Sharks, which is pretty awesome. We have the 49ers, which is in Santa Clara City. We have the San Jose Giants, which is a minor league team. We have AHL, American Hockey League. I think that's the Barracudas. We have soccer. We have the Earthquakes right down by the airport. And if you want to travel a little bit, we have the San Francisco Giants, and we have the Oakland A's, we have the Golden State Warriors. We're very close to a ton of sports here. But that's because, you know, this is one of the most well-to-do economies in the world. Number 9, lots of growing. I mentioned it before, we're stuck inside of a valley, the Silicon Valley, and I'm at the southern part of the valley, which is South San Jose, which is next to South County, but we're doing a lot of growing. San Jose was tasked a couple years ago by, I think, the state for building 40,000 more doors, which meant more units, either apartments, condos, townhouses, single family houses. We have to build 40,000 new doors by 2024, I think. And that means we're still pushing building. If you look at all the spaces that we have, they've all been tasked with building very tightly compact, high single family homes, townhouses, and condos. We have a development going on over there. I think it's 250 units of condos and single family homes. I went through them, and I got to tell you that I'm not the kind of guy that wants to live in a 3-story building with a backyard that's that big. I think it was, I measured it, it was 8 by 13 feet. That's your backyard. There's some other new building development over by Eastridge, which is, they're 3-story buildings because land is at a premium today. But the cool thing is you can put an elevator into this unit. It's a $50,000 option, but I figure if you're spending $1.5 million, what's $50,000? Just throw it in. And the reason why we're growing is because even though we still have people moving out, and I'm sure you hear that there's mass exodus of California, we still have a lot of people moving into California. We have more people moving into California than leaving. Well, not this year. This year, actually, the Delta changed where more people left, but there's still not enough housing here for the demand. And as a matter of fact, the houses that we have that are listed typically last anywhere from 2 to 5 days, unless they're not priced right or what have you. And it's pretty typical to see houses go for $100,000 over asking. So when you do look at houses and your budget's 1.1, look at houses at $1 million, just so you don't get frustrated. When you buy new houses, we can help you buy new houses too. There's not a whole lot of negotiating out there, but what you get is a lot less land and 3 stories that you have to walk up. I mentioned it before, the last one I mentioned, and this is housing costs. The strategy here is blind auction selling, and that's kind of how we set it up. And the reason why we do that is because we're trying to get the most money for our sellers, right? And that's pretty typical, that's normal, that's our task. Don't be afraid of looking for lesser of a house right now and then paying a little bit more, because the market is going to continue to go up. Even if it crashes for this COVID thing, it's going to hockey stick right back up. And it's tried and true. We've seen it over and over and over again. So if you're thinking about moving to California or San Jose specifically, and you're afraid of the pricing, just understand that once you get into it, even if you rented a house, you're still paying $4,000, $5,000 a month for rent for a house, right? My house is 2,300 square feet, and I think I can rent it for about $4,500 a month, probably more. Haven't really looked lately, but it's crazy how expensive it is here. But that's because this is where all the high-paying jobs are. And if you're being relocated, your job is bringing you out here, you're getting a job with PayPal or Amazon or Facebook or Google, you're going to be paid very well to live out here. And a lot of that is going to go towards living costs. So you're smarter to buy a house right now and start paying down your principal and making a go out of it. So here's a bonus one. Don't be afraid of what I just told you in the 10th thing. There are ways of saving and negotiating and getting money off of the price. I just helped a buyer buy a house for $40,000 under list price. And I can help you do that. You just have to call and ask. If you want to know a little bit more, you can send me a message, you can text me, you can email me. I'm happy to help you out. Just let me know. Do me a favor real quick. Take 2 seconds and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also hit the like, the little thumbs up, and the little bell so you'll be notified of upcoming videos.